The New York Stock Exchange has seen a volatile day of trading as the global trade war intensifies. US President Donald Trump is now threatening even higher tariffs on China. There were rumours that there might have been a pause, which led to things tilting up a little bit, and then they went back down when the White House dismissed that as fake news. Our North America correspondent Carrington Clarke is reporting for us this morning from Wall Street.
The extraordinary has become ordinary here on the New York Stock Exchange. What we saw today was another tumultuous, wild session with swings going from heavy losses into gains and settling with kind of a mixed result. The major indices, the Dow Jones Industrial Average and the S&P 500 are both down. The Nasdaq a slight rise. What we saw today were investors trying to deal with what is a deluge of information coming out about which direction the White House might be going on when it comes to global tariffs and international trade. What we saw from the markets, particularly when we saw what turned out to be erroneous reporting indicating that Donald Trump was open to a 90-day pause on the reciprocal tariffs that are supposed to kick in this week on every country, it should be said, except for China. The White House smacked that down. They said that was fake news. Donald Trump himself then posted to social media that instead he would actually be hitting China with an additional 50% tariff if they fulfilled their promise to hit America with a 34% retaliatory tariff that is on American imports into China. Donald Trump himself held a press conference in the Oval Office in the White House alongside Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. He said that although the tariffs could prove to be permanent, he was open to negotiations, including with China.
We'll be talking to China. We'll be talking to a lot of different countries. And I think, if we can make a really fair deal and a good deal for the United States, not a good deal for others. This is America first. It's now America first.
One of the real difficulties for investors who are jittery at this point is trying to figure out when Donald Trump's economic team are actually speaking directly for the president and when they might be freestyling. A lot of the messaging we are receiving from Donald Trump's even inner sanctum is at times contradictory, but I think investors will be closely watching tomorrow to see if there is any potential gap for negotiation before these retaliatory tariffs kick in.
So that's Carrington Clarke reporting there from New York. Big news, of course, out of that city and across the world. We're seeing big impacts of Trump's tariffs take hold on the markets. Let's go back to the studio where Emma and Nate have some updates for us on other news of the day and some sport.
We certainly do. Thanks, Bridget. Star Entertainment Group has agreed to a $300 million rescue package, which would see US casino and gaming group Bally's take control. The first of the payments of about $100 million will be made tomorrow, allowing the embattled operator to stay afloat. Star had been on the brink of administration following years of regulatory scrutiny and lawsuits over money laundering allegations. Beijing has warned Australia not to discriminate against its businesses as both sides of politics move to end a Chinese-owned company's control over Darwin Port. Labor and the Coalition have announced election pledges to end a 99-year lease awarded to the Landbridge Group by the Northern Territory government a decade ago. China's Foreign Ministry spokesman says Australian authorities must ensure a level playing field for Chinese businesses. Residents of the remote South Australian township of Innamincka are being warned the town is likely to become isolated within 24 hours and that it could be weeks or months before water levels drop. The SES has issued a watch and act for the town, with river levels rising along Cooper Creek as water from Queensland reaches the area. And the New South Wales State Emergency Service says it has aircraft in place in case evacuations are needed due to major flooding in parts of the state's northwest, where floodwaters have already exceeded historic levels. Warnings have been issued for Wanaring and surrounds, with the Paroo River expected to peak this afternoon at about 5.3 metres. Yesterday, it surpassed the previous record of 4.9 metres, and that occurred during the 1990 flood event. Western Australia's Parliament will sit for the first time today following Labor's emphatic state election victory in March. Labor won 46 of the 59 lower house seats, while the Liberals now have 7 seats. Basil Zemplis also takes the floor as Liberal leader for the first time. Premier Roger Cook's first order of business will be to legislate increased stamp duty exemptions and concessions for first home buyers. King Charles has begun a 3-day state visit to Italy in his first overseas trip since being briefly hospitalised from the side effects of cancer treatment. He'll become the first British monarch to address Italian Parliament in Rome before the couple travels to the northern city of Ravenna. A planned meeting with Pope Francis has been postponed because of the 88-year-old pontiff's recent hospitalisation for pneumonia. Well, if you're a fan of Game of Thrones, there's a big science breakthrough overnight. The team behind an attempt to bring back the Tasmanian tiger says it has successfully bred dire wolves more than 10,000 years after they went extinct. Colossal Bioscience says it's used DNA from 2 fossilised dire wolves to edit the genes of grey wolf cells and create the world's first de-extinct animals. 3 litters have been created so far, including 2 adolescent males, Romulus and Remus. Of course, Game of Thrones references with a female pup named Khaleesi.